This video is going to take you through the basics of a Google form and all of the tools that you have as options. So up at the top, here's where you can name your form, like the basics. And if you click where it says Untitled Form Next, it copies that title for you, and you can choose to change this if you'd like. Up on your top right, you can change the color palette of your form. And the preview eyeball lets you see your form as someone who might be taking it, which is really handy as you start building it a little bit more deeply. In the settings wheel, you can collect email addresses automatically as people respond, so you don't necessarily need to ask what their name is as a first question. I teach in Fall Creek, so mine is set to restrict Fall Creek users, but then I can turn that off if I'd like. I can also decide if people will only get one response or could get multiple responses. And I can decide if they're allowed to edit after they submit it or once they submit it, they're done. In the presentation block, I can show a progress bar. I can shuffle questions if I'd like. And I can also allow them to submit another response here. Each Google form has the option to be made into a quiz, and there's a separate video that explains this if you're a little more interested in creating a quiz and use Google Forms to grade it. I'm going to save what I have right now. Send. This is where you can email your form to someone when you're finished. You can also get the link to your form in this place. And the three dots here have a few things that you might decide you need. You can make a copy of your form. Maybe you want to do something a little bit different with your next section of the day, but you want the same basic questions. You can move it to the trash. Add collaborators comes in handy when you decide you might want to create a form with another teacher, or perhaps you have students that are creating a form together. Preferences is where you can go if you want it to automatically collect email addresses. For me, I also went here because I wanted my questions to be required. And there are some times that you might not want that, but usually I didn't want someone just clicking through to the end and clicking submit without actually answering the question before moving on. So I decided to have it make all my questions required. So when you go to start your first question, you're going to use these tools on the side. The plus sign is where you can add a new question. The T is for adding a title or a description. Maybe you want to give them some more information. You can add an image, a link to a YouTube video. It will embed the video for you. Or you can create separate sections so that you don't have all of your questions come up on one page. So if I click here where it says question, automatically a multiple choice question comes up, but I can choose from the drop-down list here lots of different kinds of questions. Linear scale, short answer, I could have it be more of a paragraph essay. But I'm going to start with a multiple choice. So where it says question, you type in your question. And you can give options for answers, maybe yes, no. And you can create as many options as you like or have something that says other. If you decide you want the same options for the next question, you could duplicate a question, or you might not like that question, you can delete it. Mine are automatically set on required because I wanted students to answer. And for multiple choice questions, this little triple dot here can let you go to a different section based on an answer. So maybe you have a student who's writing a choose your own adventure story and they want it to go to a different page based on where the adventure goes next. You can also add, besides multiple choice questions, short answer questions, where you type in the question and then there will be a spot for the students to answer. And there's a separate video that talks about this response validation, where you can set a specific answer to be allowed in order for the students to continue working. So once you create all of the questions that you'd like to have, remember if you go back up to this eyeball, this preview right here, it lets you see your Google form as someone who might be answering, and you can choose to answer it and submit it. And if you go back to your form, if you submit a practice one, you'll see next to responses it will say number 1, And if you click responses, you'll be able to see what people answer. It also gives you a link where you can create a Google spreadsheet, and the Google Sheet can allow you to manipulate the data and information a little bit further if you would like.